Joining us now is comedian and host of Blaze TV's Prime Time with Alex Stein. Alex, it is great to see you. My goodness, Whoopi Goldberg on The View. You know, we're used to some pretty anti-America content coming from her, but apparently life in America is just as bad as it is in Iran.
Well, it just shows you how hypocritical it is, because when her co-host asked her about, the LGBTQ community in Iran and how terrible they would be treated, of course, now Whoopi has to act like she's a victim. So it's just common practice that Whoopi Goldberg and all of the women on The View have to be the biggest victim, because that's how they basically trade. That's their currency, who can be the bigger victim and who can have more people feel sorry for them. So seeing Whoopi Goldberg do this and compare her plight to what's going on in Iran, I'm not shocked whatsoever. And the women at The View, they give us some of the best content accidentally. So I really appreciate her always going and giving us great sound bites like that.
Yeah, always seeing the silver lining there, Alex. But she's rightfully getting backlash from her idiotic comments as we speak, really. But it hasn't been a good week for the hosts on The View. Earlier in the week, they brought on Hollywood star Arnold Schwarzenegger, where the hosts asked him if he had a visceral reaction to watching the ICE raids, and his answer was absolutely brilliant.
But the key thing also is at the same time that we got to do things legal. That is the important thing, So you got to do things legal, and those people that are doing illegal things in America and that are foreigners, they are not smart. Because when you come to America, you're a guest. And you have to behave like a guest. Like when I go to someone's house and I'm a guest, then I will do everything I can to keep things clean and to make my bed and to do everything that is the right thing to do, rather than committing a crime or being abusive or something like that. So that doesn't really work in this country. So I think the important thing is, when you become an immigrant, to think about, okay, I go to America because I want to use America for the great opportunities that America has in education, in jobs, creating a family, all of those kind of things. Then you have to think about, okay, if I get all of those things from America, then I have to give something back.
It's so funny watching the hosts try and interrupt him, because that is not the answer that they were hoping to get. It's brilliant. He was speaking about how grateful he is for the opportunities that he's been given in America, someone who is a legal immigrant and had a successful acting career, was the governor of California, and he, of course, credited America for his success, was promoting legal immigration while calling out that violent criminals needed to be kicked out. But of course, that is not the kind of response that the hosts on The View were hoping for. So of course, Whoopi Goldberg and Sonny Hostin took it upon themselves to give him a lecture.
Don't forget, there's 90% of the people who come here are trying to do the right thing.
They're less likely to commit crimes.
And a lot of what's happening right now is people are getting snatched who shouldn't be snatched out of the country, people who have visas, people who have all those things. So we want all the right people. We don't want people who are doing bad stuff.
But they are less likely, immigrants are much less likely to commit crimes in this country than actually American-born citizens.
I love it. They invite him on their program just so they could tell him what they really think. But what did you make of the whole segment?
Well, just seeing Arnold's face is just, he's just shocked. He's like, what are these women saying? I can't co-sign any of this. And what's crazy is all Arnold really did is he was just saying that he has American pride. He's proud to be an American. It stands for something. But sadly, none of the hosts on The View are proud to be an American. So when they hear him kind of give this, a positive viewpoint on what it takes to become a citizen and why it's important to do it the right way, to them it's just like needles just scratching, because they don't want to hear that, because they're not proud to be an American, like clearly. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who realizes that he loves his country. And so it's just different. He loves his country, they don't.
Alex, far-left Congresswoman Ilhan Omar believes that America is becoming one of the worst countries in the world. Let's take a listen to what she had to say.
I mean, I grew up in a dictatorship, and I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world, to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights, while our president is spending millions of dollars propping himself up like a failed dictator with a military parade. It is really shocking, and it should be a wake-up call for all Americans.
So one of her big concerns is that there was a military parade marking the 250th anniversary of the US Army, and that coincided with the president's birthday. And she claims that, you know, holding this parade, honouring veterans, makes Trump a failed dictator. You know, I thought Whoopi Goldberg was bad, but at least, you know, she's being direct and honest about how much she frankly hates America, straight up saying it's one of the worst countries in the world.
Well, first of all, Ilhan Omar is from Somalia, and there's evidence that she married her brother. And you know, she's talking about parades. I'd like to see a pride parade in Somalia. That does not happen. So her fifth world, not even third world, not even fourth world, fifth world country where you can't even be an open homosexual. You know, you could be punished by death, theoretically, where she's from. So she wants to talk about how her country's better than America. Give me a break. America is a billion times better a country to live in, work in, and just do business in. Anything in America. And no offense to Somalia, I'm sure there's some great Somali people, but we're comparing apples and oranges when you compare the United States of America and a fifth world country like Somalia that literally doesn't even have gay rights. So give me a break. Ilhan Omar, she should be ashamed of herself. And she was empathetic to the terrorists on 9/11. So she's just honest. She hates this country. And that's a sad reality, is that we actually have politicians that are sitting currently in power that hate the country in which they're serving.
Clearly.
It's just so redundant or
and they're being open about it. They're literally telling us how much they hate the country.
It's sad, but it's a real thing. And they're not even hiding it. Some people aren't.